you want to start?
Michael Andrew Gow from Limerick. Just about a week ago, I was involved with Kerrygold and Tesco. The food buyers came together in the new Kerrygold Park, and somewhere was sort of sustainability and connecting the Tesco or Nuo and making a link back to on farm as well. And often there isn't a link there. Now, what you're talking about and what Aidan Gleeson spoke about as well, the link between the producer and yourself and the consumer. Have you advice for Aidan and what he was talking about this morning?
Sometimes there's advantages staring you in the face out there. And when you think about the demanding consumer that's out there today and what they want to know about the food that they're consuming, people underestimate themselves and farmers underestimate themselves and how important they are in that supply chain. The supermarkets out there today, as you rightly say, want to know the complete traceability of the product. They want to know that it's coming from a clean and efficient farm. They want to know everything about it. But I would not be lying down at that. I'd be saying that I am producing the best product as a farmer. I want to be paid properly for that product, and I see that that price should be wherever it is. Not just dropping something at the abattoir gate or your milk into the tanker at the end of the day. There is a price out there, and I know Kevin out there has identified where that is, and a lot of other people, but it is there to be got. I think you have to differentiate yourself from the competition. You have to be better than everybody else, and you have to demand a price for that.
Brian Rush.
Thanks, Amy. Brian Rush, County Kildare. Michael, you spoke a bit about that differentiation there, and I suppose there's when I was travelling, one of the things I came about was there's a kind of a more extreme version of that happening in North America, insofar is that in the search for market differentiation and to get that shelf space, they're using labels like organic, antibiotic free, free range, and with the inference that anything without that label then is of a lesser quality. And I'd just be interested to hear your views on it.
If you look at the Americas and whatever else, and I have done this and our team have on a regular basis, there's a lot of claims made in America and other places around the world that are not true. Ireland is in a very different place. We have a lot of credibility out there. We have a lot of auditing instruments that are out there to safeguard that those foods are what they say they are. And people want to buy those foods. They're prepared to pay for them. They're prepared to pay that bit more for them. And differentiation, if it brings up the standard all over the place, it's a good thing, because that allows us into better markets. And if you take places like the Middle East, whatever else, all right, we can send lots of commodities out there, whatever else, but there's customers out there that want to buy from small co-ops or small groups, or even counties that identify themselves with a brand or whatever else. Those markets are out there, and if you can put a product, your product, or a group of people get together and they put those products together, they put the safeguards in place behind that, the auditing processes, they can demand that little bit extra for it. It's there, and you can get it.
Michael, all the people here, in 2008 Ireland hosted the World Congress of Nuffield, and I had the privilege of bringing the Arable Tour to see Country Crest and Michael and the team, and I can honestly say the international delegates were absolutely blown away with the standard, and more importantly, what were blown away was the absolute honesty of the Hoey family. You know, the honesty they bring to the business starting. My question, Michael, and I want to thank you for that, because it was a huge opening for everybody. But my question for you is there's a huge shift within EU policy towards the whole organic farming industry and organic food. And the last question leads into it. Do you think that the mainstream food industry is being sidelined because of the power of the organic lobby and the organic policy?
Jim, thank you first of all for that. I don't believe the future is ever going to be in the organic piece, because if we go down the organic route, we'll starve ourselves. So there is a niche for it, and there's a place for it, and it's a good thing to have there. And there's people who want to buy organic food, but most people want to buy safe, clean food at a price that they can afford. So crop assurance is the way that most of the food will go. And I know where the lobby is in the EU on the whole organic piece and whatever else, but I would think, and especially in Ireland, we're not really in the right place to become fully organic as such, because we will not get the mass that we need to drive profitability from it.
Michael O'Leary from Farmers Journal. Again, well done, an excellent presentation, and I suppose your openness and honesty in telling your story. I suppose what came through a lot for me was that you mentioned trust and honesty a lot. And I suppose post Horsegate, you didn't trust the integrity of your supply chain, the product that was going into your meals, which forced you to grow or make your own product, like beef or the sauces, which I actually found very interesting, because you don't even have a brand that's consumer facing. But to overcome that, you have to become more integrated. And I suppose just kind of looking at Aidan Gleason's presentation earlier, he said that more industry cooperation was needed, more so than integration. So I suppose what I'm wondering from your side of things, with your great depth of industry and business knowledge, do you believe that the meat industry will be willing to cooperate with each other rather than integrate, and how do you think that could be done?
Thanks, sir. I think first of all, the meat industry in the past has been cloaked with mystery and whatever else, and I think the horse piece brought that out, and the reason that came out was a drive to the bottom, that one could get cheaper than the other to produce different products. So something had to give, because when you start reducing your quality and reducing whatever happens, then you lose integrity. And traceability is a massive piece out there. It's a trust factor that we all need out there as food manufacturers, to be able to trust the ingredients that you buy in on a daily basis, because you're selling them out, and you rightly said that we don't have a consumer facing brand, but we're responsible to our customers for the brands that they sell. So it's equally as important, and it actually carries more, because if you get something wrong in there, you're in deep trouble. Where if it's your own brand, you've only yourself to answer to. So it's actually more responsibility. But I think I'm worried about the size, or the strong piece that's becoming in the meat industry, that powerful piece of one operator in there controlling that industry and controlling what happens within that industry. I don't think that is good for the sector going forward. Competition brings honesty and it brings integrity, and there's room in there for operators and for meat factories that deliver that, and that deliver that product that gives you that true traceability as such. So that's definitely the way forward. As the customer demands more and more and wanted to know what that fuel is that they're putting into their body on a daily basis, they're owed that. They're paying their hard-earned cash to buy that product on a daily basis. We owe them as food producers and as meat producers and as farmers. We owe them that piece back. Now, if we charge them a little bit more for doing that, that's fine, but they demand and they want what they think they're getting.
Laura McCarthy. My question just relates to something I saw when I travelled during the year this year. We visited the Netherlands and we saw where grass-based milk was being promoted as meadow milk, and the cows were out on grass for a minimum of 6 hours a day, 120 days a year, and that was grass-based milk. And my issue is, when you compare that with what we have here and our lack of cohesion and selling that story. Michael, have you any advice around how we can, put our heads together and tell the world how wonderful what we have is?
I don't think anybody is going to do it for us. I think that, as you say, we have a great story in Ireland. We have probably some of the best food producers in the world here in our farming community. And we have great organisations within that farming community. But to be able to relay that story, it's about getting groups of people together and going out and selling that. Like, we're only a small, tiny organisation. We don't even rate on any of the food companies of Ireland as such. But if you go out and you sell your story and you have the honesty and integrity behind that, you will sell your product and you will make a profit from it. And if you share that product, I've always been a believer in that you pay a decent price back to the producer. I always make a point of that we pay more than our competition does back to the producer, because that allows them to reinvest into that product. It makes them deliver a better product to us, that we're able to market that product into the markets that want to buy them as such. So definitely it's easy to tell the Irish story out there, and we need to do more of it.
David Murphy?
Shane Maxwell. Michael, given our quality and traceability, could you expand on the Brexit threat with regards to the Marmite Unilever sort of dispute? Given that UK imports significant quantities of produce, should the UK consumer be paying the consequences of a weak sterling rather than us as primary producers?
The reality is, this is only Tesco having a go. Dave Lewis, as you know, originally came from Unilever, so he's having a little bit of a spate with his own people as such. And the reality is that prices are going to go up, and it's only a matter of time before they do rise on that market. The UK, whether they like it or not, they're going to have to pay more for their food, because, as you know, 60% of it comes in from outside. Now, I know there's threats of bringing a lot of that from South America and places like that, but reality is that a lot of those products don't travel well. So, and the UK person is very colonial to their brands. So Unilever know that people want to buy Marmite and they want to buy all the hair products and all that are branded. So they're in a very safe position. They'll get delisted for a week or two and whatever else, or 3 or 4. We've all been there. You get delisted and whatever else, and you have to go back in and you have to do a deal to get them back onto the shelves again. But they're in a very fortunate position that they're strong and they're able to do that, and they'll stand off for a while. But the reality is that I think Ireland will always be important to the UK because we're close to them. We make good foods, and as I said earlier, we have an integrity and a credibility that the UK people want to buy Irish goods, and a lot of them are from Ireland anyway in the first place. So that is an advantage. The disadvantage is that there's going to be world competition there going into that market, but how much they will chip away at their market and take down their quality expectations, I don't think that will happen, because there's, as you know, the UK lead the world of retail, so they do. You take Marks and Spencer's, the Tesco, Sainsbury's, so their offerings are the best in the world, and Ireland is there with them. We have our supermarkets today, and our food offerings are the best that you will find. You won't find as good anywhere else in Europe or in the States. So there will be always that place, and where nobody knows where Brexit is going, I hope that it's like the Millennium Bug that everybody was dreading, that it was going to take down all the computers and when the millennium turned, and please God it won't be as difficult as what we think it might be.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Michael. You just mentioned there about the Horse Gate scandal and the effect it had on your business, and how you're consumption of prepared meals dropped so dramatically. How did you motivate your staff and your team, that week after the scandal broke and you had to fix the problem? There must have been an awful lot of stress within the organisation to try and deal with the consequences of what was happening. How did you motivate your people around you and yourself as well to conquer that challenge?
I think, I suppose, being involved in a small business, you're constantly facing stresses and different things happening and whatever else, and it was probably one of the worst things that ever happened to us was that. And when we met around the boardroom table about how we were going to go forward and whatever else, and our auditors were telling us that the best thing to do was to close the business down because we were not going to recover for it. We were hemorrhaging money, and in the short term we were going to keep hemorrhaging money. But do you know something? You look at the people who are there and the team you have, and you look at the worry in their eyes, and you say, no, we're not going to let this beat us. We're going to get a blank sheet of paper and we're going to carve our way out of this. And do you know what? People who are on your team, they're at their best then. Because when you say to them, we're not going to let this beat us, we're going to get back on our feet, we're going to make this happen again, all of a sudden they start coming to you with ideas. We can do this, we can do this, we can move this around this way and whatever else. And we'll go out and we'll look for this new piece of business, we'll do whatever. And somehow or other, it happens. Because if you're honest with your team and you're honest with all the people that are around you, including your own family, the motivation is massive. And in fixed mode sometimes, you're at your best. And that's what I've found anyway. And like Irish farmers and Irish people are used to crisis, they're used to problems coming down the line at us. And we're probably the MacGyvers of the world out there in that we know how to fix things. And thank God, sometimes they go right, other times they go wrong, and you just have to pick yourself up, dust yourself down and try and crawl again. And that's really what I find anyway.
Question here.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Michael, for a fabulous talk. What is your opinion of genetically modified products and seeds? Thank you.
My opinion of Ireland and genetically modified products is we should keep out of it. Have nothing to do with it whatsoever. We have a clean island. We have a unique marketing platform. Every other country in Europe are looking at it at this minute in time. If you take my own sector, the potato sector for instance, it will be the best thing that ever happened to us as potato growers, as a group of growers, that we could have genetically modified potatoes, that we didn't have blight to worry about anymore. But the price for that is too big, as far as I see. I think that Ireland is a clean country at this minute in time. We have a unique sales platform, and if we can keep, now, somewhere down along the line it's going to come, it's going to be here and whatever else, but in the meantime I think we should take advantage of the sales platform we have and try and keep going that way.
Right, we'll take one more question because we're over time at this stage. Has anybody got a final question? Joe here in front.
Thanks, Chairman. Michael, thank you very much. That was a fantastic presentation. And I'm not just saying that because Amy and I went to see you earlier a couple of weeks ago and came away with a week's supply of food But having, your story, you started at 15 with Gabriel on the farm with 52 acres, and you're now farming 3,500 or somewhere over 3,000 with 260 employees. In reference to John's presentation this morning about learning employment skills and becoming a leader, where was that all kind of organically grown, or did you go out and look for employment coaching? Or?
I suppose a lot of it you learn by your mistakes, Joe, and I suppose, and Geraldine would say one of my weaknesses is that I'm a bit soft with people, and we now have a HR department within our company that manages employing people and looking after them and all their needs. And I suppose one of the things that has come up to bite us in recent times, and it's the elephant in the room for a lot of companies out there today, is spurious claims on insurance and our employees taking goes at us and people outside and whatever else, and where you have to be fair with your employees, you have to be strong with them also. And I think today some of the trust can be undermined a little bit when you see somebody that you've trusted, you've tried to look after, taking that claim against you, and you end up on the court steps with them over something that hasn't happened at all. And a lot of companies, and I suppose just after this today, I'm going to a family business network community which was formed a few years ago. We're the smallest company within that network. But the things you actually learn from all of those Irish companies on the difficulties and whatever they have, and how you address those problems, how you look after your workforce, how they look after their workforce. And one of the interesting things that come out of that, what is that we employ each other's people. And what somebody wants to change a direction in their career or whatever else, we could take somebody from the cement industry or from whatever else into our organisation for 6 months or a year, and they learn a different set of skills and whatever else, and integration like that. And I think that's something that could be within this room, within the employment piece, is that we take each other's people and we employ them for a time, and in that way you build their skill base, and then you reap the rewards from that. If you look after your people, you train them properly. We're training our people on a daily basis. We have in-house trainers, we have trainers who come in and train, we send them to the UK on training courses. Whatever a person wants to be trained in, we leave that path open to them. And that helps a lot. But the best part of it all is if you with other family farms or whatever can train each other, it's a great help. Sorry, Andy.
I think we'll wrap it up there. I just want to ask our esteemed leader, Bill, to come up and make a presentation to Michael to thank him for his contribution here today.